Now, it's hard not to take sides when it comes to Sports Day. And today, Jeremy Hunt, the Minister in charge with getting us active, has signalled a move back towards competitive sports days in schools.
We absolutely want to boost competitive sport and move away from the sort of prizes for all culture, because the magic of sport is that it challenges people to do things they never thought they could do. And to do that, you have to have medals that actually mean something. But it isn't just about competitive sport. We also want to get children playing sport who haven't played sport before and get them to experience the magic of participation as well.
So let's discuss the whole issue of whether or not we should be more competitive. Alison Oliver is the sport director of the Youth Sport Trust, and Dan Travis is a tennis coach and campaigner with the Manifesto Club. Welcome to both of you. Alison Oliver, first of all, what's the idea of today? You're involved in today's project.
Well, today is the first real inaugural event within the new school games, which, as the Secretary of State was announcing, it's a big push to reinvigorate competitive sport in schools. And the event in Hertfordshire today is the culmination of a year's worth of activity with lots of finals.
Well, it's interesting you use the word reinvigorate. I mean, is it dead and buried in our schools then?
Not dead and buried by any stretch of the imagination at all, but I think where we have traditionally seen competitive sport in school is an opportunity for the best young people in school, and the school games is about every young person having an opportunity to take part in competition for their own personal best.
Dan Travis, do you agree that schools need a bit of a kick to get more competitive as far as sport's concerned?
Oh, certainly, but I do think there is a deeper problem we have with competition, particularly in schools, and we've seen it over the last 10 years, and that is an unwillingness to maybe upset children or cause disappointment, and it's that sentiment, that lack of desire to lower the self-esteem of children. Has been kind
that
of...
seems like quite a good instinct, isn't it, to not humiliate children?
Well, yeah, of course it sounds like we don't want to openly humiliate children, but what's been happening is the aversion to lowering a child's self-esteem, which unfortunately you have to face if you are competing in sport, has kind of displaced the desire to see children compete. I do think that is, I would argue that's the first problem. The second problem, and I think the more insidious one, is that alongside increasing the amount of competitive opportunities, genuine competitive opportunities in schools, we need to increase the personnel in order to deliver those. What's happened is, however, that volunteers for sport have virtually been criminalised over the last 10 years with the introduction of the CRB check and the vetting system.
So, yeah, so they have to go through a lot of checks before they're allowed to work with children. Yes. People are being very careful about that. Alison Oliver, would you say that this feeling in schools is still there, the fact that you have to make every child a winner, especially at a young age? You don't want to tell any child that they've lost.
I think there has been a period where that may have been the case. I think we've turned the corner, to be honest. There's a huge journey still to go, but actually evidence suggests that competition's been on the rise in schools and through school sport for at least the last 4 years. So we're turning the corner. But the school games is an opportunity really to embrace everything that is wonderful about the Olympic and Paralympic values and embed them within competitive school sport. So personal excellence is, again, a very important thing.
Dan Travis, do you think it's got as much to do with concerned parents who have terrible memories themselves, perhaps, of Sports Day, of losing races and falling over and feeling foolish and feel very protected towards their children? Do you think the push comes as much from parents as from schools?
That's not what I've found. Certainly in the last 15 years, the sentiment has been something very different. In fact, the parents are saying, look, God, we need the children to compete. We recognise we didn't have a good experience ourselves necessarily in schools, but Dan, we do want to see them compete, and yes, maybe lose, and maybe put off sport for life, but that's the essence of sport. Sport needs its competitive element.
Alison Oliver, children have a lot of competition in schools now, academically, don't they? There are targets set, they have to achieve a certain amount with exams. Is it just, a bit of competition too far?
I don't think so, no. I think there is an element of sport which is intrinsically competitive. That's the basis of it, the nature of it. And I think actually most young people want to take part in competitive sport. I think some of the challenges we've seen is where competition in schools has just been for the best, and actually young people have been excluded from taking part in competition just because team selections have meant those who are not the best don't get the chance to play.
Can I take it, though, that you both two performed very well at Sports Day? I bet you did. You're both sports people, aren't you?
Yes. Did I perform fairly well? I came third in the 100 metres, I remember.
And you still remember it,
Well,
you see, because it wasn't winning.
Well, yeah. It wasn't until after primary school that, for a very brief period.
OK, well, Dan Travis and Alison Oliver, thanks for coming in to talk about it with us here today. You're watching Sky News. Coming up...